let go so I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Live. It's Braun and AJ and Mr. Kratz, and a lot of news Monday, a lot, which was so enormous that we didn't even get to like some of the quote smaller stuff. We had like a week or two's worth of news in a day. Of course, we'll be all over the Craig Counsell aftermath. We're going to talk to Sahadev Sharma in about 15 minutes about what went down with Craig Counsell and his top secret meetings with the Chicago Cubs to avoid any of us from finding out. My biggest question, where did they meet? I want to know where they met. Where do you think they met? That no one can find them.
They have to be at someone's house or something, because that's the only way.
It's allowed. You can meet at somebody's house in the backyard, maybe in the cabana in the backyard. Everything's secret McSecretson, but super crazy that he went to Chicago. If you gave me the 29 other teams that he could have gone to, I definitely would not have chosen the Chicago Cubs. And Milwaukee Twitter is burning right now. It needs to be helped. Somebody needs to be able to speak into them, because Antanasio coming out and saying what he said didn't help Milwaukee fans, and they're going to be hurt for a while about this one.
And we'll get into what he said in just a sec. First off, let's charge the damn mound, and let's go over some qualifying offers. So
Conforto's qualifying offer never actually happened. Not sure he was going to have a qualifying offer, but Conforto opted into his contract, maybe to the chagrin of Giants fans. But Matt Chapman got a qualifying offer. Let's see who else. What's the rest of the list? Blake Snell, Josh Hader. Pretty standard qualifying offers. Most likely not gonna see anybody pick these up. But it is interesting moving forward to see where each of these guys ends up in free agency, but also how each team is compensated a little bit differently. AJ Cassavell tweeted earlier, the Padres, as expected, have extended qualifying offers to Blake Snell and Josh Hader. That's essentially a 1-year, $20.325 million offer. When they decline, the Padres will receive draft compensation if they sign elsewhere. Snell and Hader have until November 14th. I'm pretty sure it is November 7th right now. You could probably get their answer right now, because Hader should get 9 figures. He should sign for over $100 million, and Snell is going to sign for over $100 million. So I don't see how 7 days is going to do anything, but I guess it's semantics. The only person I see on this whole list that possibly could, and AJ, if you can hear me, maybe you think differently, but Matt Chapman may accept this deal. He may accept this qualifying offer.
Well, I'm surprised he got one, because he didn't have a great year. I know,
and he didn't. Without his April, he didn't have any year at all.
Yeah, I was shocked.
But there's the Gold Gloves. So what's the defense value? What's the defensive value? So we're gonna quick head to break here, and we'll be back. We have a little bit of technical difficulties. Back on Stadium.
you look, he's someone that is going to get paid. There's no question about it. You talk about the stuff in and out of the zone. He can blow hitters away with his fastball in the zone. It's 94, 96. He's been up to 99. It's got life. And the way it just comes out of his hand, it's like a speeding bullet. It just gets on hitters. It's direct. It's sharp. He can locate it to both sides of the plate. He can elevate it. So again, it's not just pure stuff with him, it's command. And also he's aggressive. He pounds the strike zone. So even though maybe some of the strikeouts come outside the zone, he's setting it up because he's so aggressive in the zone. Fastball, drops that plus splitter down below it. Guys are helpless. And he's got a really good curveball too. One of the things with a lot of Asian pitchers, Japanese pitchers in particular, is you see a lot of times they have good fastballs, good splitters. The breaking stuff maybe just needs a little more refinement, and because it's not thrown a whole lot over there, he's actually rare and unique in that he has a plus curveball already. So you're getting a guy with 3+ pitches out the gate. He can set hitters up in the zone, finish them out of the zone. He can beat them in the zone. It's that ability to get out so many different ways with so many different pitches that makes him so appealing, and why most projections have him getting that 7-year, $200 million type deal. Got to remember, he's in his mid-20s too. This isn't a guy who's in his early 30s and you're looking at a shorter window of his prime. In a lot of cases, he's still got his prime ahead of him. And again, even though it might not show up statistically, from a scouting perspective, a lot of evaluators thought he was even better this year than previous years. This is a guy who's still getting better. And in his mid-20s, I mean, you guys know a lot of guys don't really peak till 28, 29. His best years might still be in front of him.
And now, back to foul territory.
What's up?
I like that.
Kratz, how we doing, man?
I like that. I like that angle. You got the turf in the background. You got that ball case in the background. That's hot.
Living the life, baby. All right, let's backtrack just for the crew. First off, appreciate everyone working with us here. Having some internet weirdness. You guys are crazy. You said Matt Chapman should maybe think about accepting a qualifying offer. How much money do you think he's going to get in the free agent market?
I mean, I'm thinking
I already did all my predictions for numbers.
I'm assuming he might get 85. I've seen predictions higher. I've seen predictions at 5 years, 95. I'm just looking at the fact that, yes, you're picking up. Is that the value of is $95 million? Is that the value of a defensive third baseman? He's also coming off of the hip injury that he had. He's also coming off of, just some years that he didn't perform at the plate like he had been. But I think the hip surgery thing could be a real thing. Are you paying $95 million for a bounce back season?
So, first off, he's never been a below average hitter in the bigs, right? If we're going off OPS plus and 100th league average, never been below average, despite some, I would say, pretty significant injuries. I would agree, right? Including the hip injury that I think clearly was a factor over the last few years. Started off strong, yes, tailed off, and ended up at 108 OPS plus on the year, 330 on base, 424 slug. If I go to the free agent market and I look at position players, where does he rank? After Cody Bellinger, who's second? Who's the second best position player available on the market overall?
Hitter? Okay. I was going to say.
Overall. Because obviously, yes, he plays elite defense. He's a Gold Glove caliber defender, correct?
Oh, yes, Gold Glove. Not just Gold Glove caliber. He is a Gold Glove defender, year in and year out. I mean, I would say, Ohtani's up there because he's only going to be a position player. Hoskins is a better hitter, way different on defense. Is he going to get
No, they're not even in the same stratosphere, though.
Right.
And don't count Ohtani. He's in his own planet. He's number 2. Matt Chapman's number 2. I would be shocked if he doesn't get over $100 million. Shocked. And I have him in the mid 100s. I would not be surprised if he signs for $150 million based on his age based on his position and his defense, based on his offensive upside and how hard he hits the baseball, and based on some injury history that I think keeps getting further away from him. That's my take. So that's why I just had to. I heard you guys while we were fixing some things, and I heard you guys say, "Oh, maybe you should take the QO." I'm like, for 20, he's going to get 120 plus.
I would sit there and I would say, why, is that the value of defense? Are you getting?
It's not just defense. He's not a below average hitter. And if I
I'm not saying he's below average. He's an average big league hitter.
But you're saying, is that the average of defense? No, he's an offensive player too. I mean, he's had 27 home run seasons in 2 of the last 3 years. 2020, I'm not counting, right? So, right. Well, I mean, he had 10 homers. He wasn't bad, but this year was where the power was down, which was the case actually for a lot of Blue Jays hitters. But 17 home runs. Last year, 27. Year before, 27. Then it was COVID year 10. Year before that, 36. I mean, this is what should be on the right ball club, a 30-homer bat, a guy who has an on-base percentage in the low to mid 300s, like 330-ish, right? Upside, I still think, if you believe in the health and you're going to get all the medicals. And he's a top 3 defensive third baseman. In my mind, that's worth $100-something million based on a market that has no position players. It is the worst position player market that I've seen since I've covered the game professionally.
But people are not going out. What did we say at the trade deadline? What are they going out to get? Offense. I don't think you're going to get offense with this signing. And my thought was, hey, you go back in with the qualifying offer, you get $20 million a year. Now all of a sudden, if he gets his OPS up above 800 for the season, which you think he can, I think he probably can, depending on how far out that hip injury, which is a real thing. He gets off the turf. I bet his body feels better. And now all of a sudden, he increases that value because this is a guy too, that I heard from people in Oakland, he turned down $75 million that Oakland offered him. Way back when he was worth way more than that, when dudes were getting extensions, when he was in the 864, 848 OPS. But from 2018 down to now, his OPS has declined each year. If he takes that qualifying offer, yes, he has to go back to Oakland. Yes, he still has a Gold Glove defense. I mean, to Oakland, to Toronto, not to Oakland. But he has a chance to up his OPS, really it's being dragged down by his batting average. And this year, then his power. So it's just a weird dynamic that I think he could be, if we're going to take any of the 7 that had the qualifying offer, he could be one that would think about it.
Totally disagree. I think it's not even close. But that's just my take.
So is there nobody that will think about the qualifying offer?
Not on this current list, and especially not 30-year-old Matt Chapman. I look at the market. It's never going to be like this. It's a freaking gold mine for him. There's nobody available, and there's teams that need offense. There's teams that need third baseman. Some of it has to do with supply and demand. I'm telling you, you guys are way off on this one. He's $100 million plus.
That's
guaranteed. Fine. Unless there is a significant medical issue, right, where he fails physicals once he gets to them. I can't account for that. Nobody can that knows what his status is, right?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
So, just throwing that out there.
Love that.
Sorry, losing you a little bit there, Kratz.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything. I was waiting on you.
Hey, we're going to step aside for 1 second here on Stadium.
We started talking about what we wanted to do. And, for me, the most important thing was staying as a Dodger for more than just the 1 year that I had with my option. And, we made that very clear. We wanted to be here longer than just the 1 year. And, they agreed with us on it, and we were able to get a deal done.
I love it. But was the thing that put it over the top the fact that you went into the Baylor Sports Hall of Fame this weekend? They saw that announcement and they're like, we got to keep this guy now.
I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but it capped off a pretty good week for me. It was really fun event down there, and it was fun hearing stories from some of those guys. Ken Quisenberry, that guy's a hoot. He was really knocking it out at the banquet. Yeah, and there's no telling what my market would have actually been, but we felt like the deal we got is definitely undervalued, but it was something that we discussed, that the value to us was being able to stay in LA and keeping my family in LA, where, my kids are comfortable now. My wife's comfortable there now. And, we had to kind of talk amongst ourselves and just kind of try to decide what the number would have been to relocate them to another city. And, we really didn't know what that was. And, more than likely, even if we didn't have any discussions, the Dodgers would have picked up my option and I would have had another year there anyways. But just to know that my family is going to be able to be there for a couple more years, that to me was kind of the more important thing. And, it's an organization that I love. It's an organization that, I've been there a long time now. And when I was out of baseball, they gave me a chance, and, they kind of helped me rediscover my love for baseball and rediscover myself as a player. And, they've been loyal to me. They've stuck with me when I've had some downs, and, that's meant a lot to me. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer that the thing I wanted most was to be able to stay in LA for more than just 1 year.
And now back to foul territory. Back on FT on Stadium, Braun, Kratz, Pierzynski in a little bit. Sahadev Sharma joining us right now, I'm assuming from the GM meetings, writes for The Athletic, covers the Cubs. Looks nice and sunny out there. Sahadev, appreciate the time and great work on covering the insane story of Craig Counsell's move over from the Brewers to the Cubs. I read the article late last night. Let's just start off with your thoughts when you first saw that news, knowing that you've covered this team for a while and not thinking that David Ross was going to be out of the position.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the more shocking things that's happened while I've covered this team. Joe Maddon's hiring, there was a couple weeks, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, leading up to that, where there were rumors. So that didn't come as a shock. The Jose Quintana trade, that kind of came out of nowhere, but there was a little bit of leaking on that as well. I don't think anybody saw this coming outside of a very small group with the Cubs front office and Craig Counsell, because this blindsided a lot of people, not just David Ross, but throughout the industry. I understand the move. I think Craig Counsell is arguably the best manager in baseball. Terry Francona is retired. Bruce Bochy has another World Series championship, and then you talk about Craig Counsell right there with them. So I understand this in a purely baseball sense, but it's the human side of it. It feels a little. It doesn't feel great, right? This is a guy that was handpicked to replace Joe Maddon. A lot of talk at the time was the Cubs wanted to maximize their roster, kind of like the Brewers do, kind of like Craig Counsell does, and they believe David Ross was that man. Now they have Craig Counsell doing exactly that for them. I'm fascinated to see where it goes from here, because this isn't a perfect roster, but certainly they have one of the best managers to lead the group.
Well, that was going to be my question, because yesterday I brought it up when we heard this news. I played for Counts, and I know him really well, and I've watched Cubs moves kind of like, we'll put a little money here, a little money there. Does this move mean that the Cubs are going to continue to just kind of dabble? Or does this mean the Cubs are going to be like, hey, we got the manager, we're going all in, see us in the World Series?
How about a little of both?
No,
I
no.
don't. So Jed Hoyer is not the type of executive that I see just blowing everyone away. They're not going to have a Texas Rangers offseason. I'd be a little surprised if they do, but they also know Jed Hoyer knows this is a flawed roster. He can tout the farm system all he wants. Where is he going to get his middle of the order bat from the farm system for 2024? Maybe that happens by 25 or 26. Maybe someone like Kevin Alcantara develops into that middle of the order bat. You really want to rely on that in 2024 and say you can compete? I think that's a stretch. So they have to find a way to get a middle of the order bat. Is that bringing back Cody Bellinger? Is that trading for Pete Alonso, Juan Soto? Is there a name out there that we're not so sure about that's on the trade market? And of course, the big name, Shohei Ohtani. Is he willing to win that bidding war? I'd be surprised, but I'm not going to say they're not going to try for those guys. They're going to be in on Bellinger. They're going to be in on Ohtani. They're going to be in on the pitchers for the most part. There's a lot of things they can do, and they have financial flexibility. The trade market is going to be really interesting for them because they have a deep farm system. So, yeah, I think they're going to be active. I don't see them being the team where they're like, by the end of the offseason, you're like clear offseason winners, and where they blew everyone out of the water and got 2-3 massive free agents. Jed Hoyer likes to talk about intelligent spending. I think he's going to try and stick to that while also being a little aggressive at times and trying to find the right spot to add the right pieces. Bullpen, middle of the order bat, and with Stroman opting out, they need another. They'd like to add another starter at minimum depth there.
So does that mean that they didn't like David Ross? Does that mean that there was something? I mean, was David Ross a place filler until they got a better manager? I mean, if they're saying Counsell's a better manager, is he going to, are they going to put anything around him, or is it going to be the same exact thing? And why not just keep David Ross then?
I think the answer to that is they felt they liked David Ross. They believed in David Ross, but they felt this was a clear upgrade. They felt that when you look around the baseball landscape, who's the best manager, they identified Craig Counsell as that guy. And the fact that he was available, the fact that there was 1 year left on David Ross's deal with an option, they felt that this was the time. 2024 was kind of be a make or break year for David Ross. So if they ended 2024 and they're like, he's not our guy, they would have felt like they missed an opportunity with Craig Counsell having been a free agent the previous year. So they pounced on this opportunity. Like I said before, it's the business side of baseball. This was their handpicked guy in David Ross, but they love Craig Counsell. They believe he's the best at what he does. He handles the in-game stuff. He handles the media well, and he handles the clubhouse. He does all three aspects that you're really looking for, and he's going to work hand in hand in the front office. Let's be real. In today's game, the manager works hand in hand with the front office, right? You can't have a guy that's just doing everything on his own and doesn't take feedback. Craig Counsell is willing to take feedback, but they also trust him to handle those in-game situations and really execute in the right way. And tough times come around. They trust that he can keep the clubhouse together. And he knows how to speak to people like me when we're pressing before or after a game. Like, why did you do that? Why did you do this? He can handle us and make sure he doesn't make anyone look foolish.
Does Chicago feel like they overpaid for a position that maybe they felt like they had a good manager? The fan base, do they feel that way?
Yeah, I think there's some mixed feelings there. Do you pay this much for a manager is a completely fair question. I think the answer is, does it keep you from spending on free agents? Does it keep you from spending on the roster? If that's the case, if it's going to limit how you add to the roster, then I think then you have to really question the move. If it's a signifier that, hey, not only are we going to spend big on the manager, but we'll spend big on the roster too, then you don't worry about how much you're spending on the manager because it doesn't impact the actual payroll, right? It's not going to push them over the luxury tax or anything like that.
Yeah, so you kind of hit on this a little bit, but are there any other non-player, because you're going to have to sell the case for Shohei Ohtani after you answer this question. Are there any other non-player things that the Cubs are looking to do? Obviously, we didn't see this happening, but is there something like, is there another non-player issue that we have to address as Cubs fans?
As far beyond adding to the roster, they need to figure out how they're going to move on with Craig Breslow leaving for the Red Sox. I think there'll be some internal promotions. They will look outside the organization. I'm not sure if Jed Hoyer is going to rush to fill the front office with an external hire. The coaching staff needs to be finalized. A lot of these guys are already under contract. So I think the feeling is many of them will return, but how many of them are going to feel loyal to David Ross and not want to be a part of Craig Counsell's staff, that's up in the air. We'll find out in the next week or so, in all likelihood. Is Pat Murphy going to stay in Milwaukee and be the manager there, or is he coming to Chicago? If he does come to Chicago, what does that mean for Andy Green? Those are the non-roster questions right now lingering for this team.
I know you're not a Milwaukee apologist, but as a ex-Milwaukee player, how do you console Milwaukee fans who have lost their golden child, the bat boy to player to manager that takes them from one game from the World Series? How do you console that organization as a organization in the Cubs who didn't win for 116 years?
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's tough to see a manager that is clearly highly valued leave for your chief rival. How do you console that group? I think the only way you can do it is say, hey, you're division winners. You guys are the ones that have consistently made the playoffs. If you want to look at the great Cubs team from 2016 and the downfall of that group, a lot of it had to do with the Milwaukee Brewers taking the division in 2018, taking the division again, or I believe they had a great September in 2019, another month when the Cubs collapsed, similar to this past September. So, I mean, the Brewers have been a more consistently winning organization over the past 5 years. Since that World Series that the Cubs won, the Brewers have ascended while the Cubs have kind of gone down. So, yeah, it's hard to console them when your chief rival takes a great manager from you. You finally find this guy that you think is a part of the community and part of the future, and he kind of takes them to heights that they really haven't been to, at least in the recent past, and leaves for the Cubs. That stings. I can't imagine the feeling for the fans there, and I know ownership wasn't thrilled, and people aren't happy in Milwaukee. But all you can do is play it out on the field. If they beat the Cubs on the field, none of it matters, right?
Yeah, basically, this is what the Brewers look like while you were talking. They were down crying, and then he went, okay. He's done talking again. And they started crying. All right, now, this is going to be something. You are our first contestant on a bit we want to call Make a Case for Shohei Ohtani. For the Cubs to sign in my opinion, should have been the Player's Choice Player of the Year. Yes, I know he's not going to pitch next year. Yes, there's concerns behind the second Tommy John recovery, but make a case for the Cubs to sign Shohei Ohtani.
I mean, huge market already. They obviously need a power bat with Cody Bellinger hitting the free agent market. They could really use that bat in 2024, and they're going to need more pitching beyond 2024. So they'll happily wait for him to get right. They have enough pitching depth for next season that they can be patient. He considered the Cubs, even though it seemed like he was focused on the West Coast. He considered the Cubs when he first came stateside. I mean, the Cubs, great fan base, great ballpark, long history. I think the case is pretty easy to make. Outside of, is this a team that's going to win right away? Does he believe that? I think that's probably where you have to really push him, really sell him on the fact that there's a lot of young talent with a solid core with Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, Ian Happ, Justin Steele, Seiya Suzuki. There's talent here. They need a superstar, and who better than Shohei Ohtani?
Is there enough of a farm system? Is there enough of a farm system for, because Shohei's looking for 10 to 15-year contract.
Yeah. Their farm system is ranked pretty much top 5 by most publications. Some of them have them top 3. The question probably that most people have is what type of impact talent do they have at the top of the farm? Pete Crow Armstrong, Cade Horton are pretty consistently top 25, top 30 guys now. Then you look at upside guys like Kevin Alcantara, Matt Shaw was drafted this past summer and just tore apart the minors. There's some really interesting talent. Owen Casey hits mammoth home runs, some of the best exit velocity in the minor leagues. As far as when we talk about prospects, it's all questions for me. Until you come up and prove it, it's really hard to know. There's very few Julio Rodriguez's that come up right away and just become MVP candidates. Not sure if the Cubs have that guy, but they have plenty of talent, and they can, at minimum, they can use these guys to add current talent that can impact the team. I believe that a guy like Pete Crow Armstrong or Cade Horton, they're not going to trade those guys. They want them to be a part of the future and maybe even the present in 2024.
All right, well, this one's directed directly to you. Shohei Ohtani just texted me, and he said, is the media going to ask me a lot of questions? Because when I was in Anaheim, I never really had to do much.
I'd like to ask him plenty of questions. If he's unwilling to chat, then hey, I get it. But I'm going to try and do my job and talk to these guys as much as I can. Hopefully, as a good translator that's willing to chat me up.
Do you think that will turn some teams away? The fact that Chicago's a large market, the fact that LA is a large market, that the Dodgers, I wouldn't say Anaheim's is the same type of market. Philly, New York, his lack of connection to the media, is his lack of being accessible. Do you think that's going to turn some teams away, or is that just going to be something that they'll cross that bridge when they get there?
Yeah, I'm not sure if a front office will consider that. And frankly, when guys, a lot of Boston people have come to Chicago, right? And they tell us that they prefer Chicago media to Boston media because we're not as harsh as the Boston media. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Maybe we should be harsher. Yeah, is it obviously would love if guys are accessible and want to talk all the time, but it isn't the type of media market that's going to bang down his door and demand that he speaks at all times. Guys get to pick and choose when they speak, and if that's his choice to limit it to days when he pitches, that's his choice and that's his prerogative. We can't force a guy to come chat with us.
Now, is there a fear in Cubland that they don't get Shohei? That then, well, who do we pivot to? Do they make a splash with one of the other 6 people who have been extended a qualifying offer? Do they make a splash there, or do they just go and supplement these pieces and hope that their $8 million manager is the ultimate savior of this team? Maybe we lost him. Or he's just stone facing me and he didn't like my question. We lost him. He gone. So we're gonna head to break here on Stadium. We'll be back, hopefully with a couple more of my co-hosts, because the whole solo thing's not it for me. And they've watched him. They've probably gone into every season going, Brewers aren't better than us, outside of maybe this year. The Brewers aren't better than us. Like, how? And at the end of every season, how the heck do they keep beating us? Well, the first shoe to drop is they get Counsell. Does this mean they're going to set off a huge offseason for the Cubs? Or are they thinking, well, we bring in Counsell, we pay him more than we've paid any manager or anybody's paying any manager, and we'll just kind of continue to just float along with mediocre players and fill in and hope we do well? Or does this mean that they're going to be like deep into the Shohei talk? Are they going to be deep into 2 starting pitchers in the free agent market?
Yes. The
Yes,
answer
all
is
the
yes.
above.
They're
Here's my-
going to
here's
go
my
in.
thing.
Agree?
Oh, they're all in now.
They're going hard this
Shohei,
offseason.
everyone's on the table for the Cubs.
I don't know if they're going to get Ohtani, but there
No,
are a
no.
lot of other free agents they're going to go
in
after.
on everybody at this point because
Yes.
of this news. Now, here's my thing about this. Counsell comes here, right, to the Cubs. Okay, they're going to be in on every free agent. Nobody saw this coming. If you're every organization in baseball, you might have a manager, you might have a GM. This goes back to kind of the White Sox hiring Chris Getz without interviewing people. Take a shot and talk to everybody, right? Kim Ng hired Skip Schumacher. He wasn't really on anyone's list. Boom. Goes there, they make the playoffs for the first time in 20 years, outside of the shortened season, right? If you're an organization now, all bets are off. You can talk to whoever you want. Oh, we got a manager? So what? You're a free agent manager? Oh, well, we're going to talk to you for a little bit. It opens the door to a lot of possibilities now. GMs, managers, coaches, right? Everyone used to be like, oh, David Ross is there. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's safe. Not anymore. But it also lends you to say, if you're an organization, talk to everybody you can because you might get ideas and someone might surprise you and be like, oh, we have so-and-so under contract. Oh, boom, we can get this guy who we think better. Let's take him on.
You don't think this is a one-off? I get what
No,
you're
it's
saying.
not. It won't be anymore because teams copy. And if this works for the Cubs, it's going to be a lot of nervous managers.
And now back to foul territory. Welcome back to Foul Territory here on Stadium. It's me, Erik Kratz. That's it. Nothing else. But now we're going to give you guys a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at Foul Territory.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Derek Lewandowski, and you might remember me from such behind-the-scenes videos as Soft Spoken, The Quiet World of Golf Podcasting, and Bang the Can Slowly, the story of the 2017 Houston Astros. Today, I am at the lovely sportsbook at the Borgata Casino in Atlantic City for a look behind the scenes at the best baseball podcast in the country, Foul Territory. What's your favorite moment from year one of Foul Territory?
It's really the guests. Like I love the fact that we get some of these guys on to just really open up and, people get to see who they really are.
It's like, that fat girl in the club where you're like, dude, she looks good. And then she gets back to your house and she drops it out and you're like, damn.
But see, I was more interested in the cockfighting.
Okay. All right. You are obviously an impression guy. We've seen the Salvi.
I scored the run because it was fun to score, and I had so much fun. I found a ball off my toe. It hurt a lot, but I'm always in the All-Star game.
Hey, if other team want to fight us, we're going to fight them, okay, guys? We stand up for each other.
You're a poker player. Can we get your best Teddy KGB?
Still up 20 grand from this last time. I stick it in you.
Don't splash the pot. I'll do whatever I want. I'll splash the pot.
I asked all the interns, who would be your number one draft pick of the people we've had on this show this year to start a new podcast? And you were unanimously number one. So I got to ask you, what's it like to be a top draft pick for the first time in your life? The executive producer, Mark Weiner of Foul Territory. Mark, tell me about the year at the Borgata.
It's been exciting. It's been fun. It's great to take the show on the road. We're usually at home, right? Everybody works remotely in the new world we have. So to be able to get everybody together to come down to the Borgata has been awesome.
What's been the most memorable, I guess, episode of Foul Territory this year?
Well, a couple of things. The coolest thing while we were here at the Borgata was the day we had Mike Trout on the show, which is awesome. Anytime you get Mike Trout on the show.
A lot of people don't see that. He's just figures he just shows up to the field and hits 464 homers every night, and throws 12 Ks. But he knows the game better than anybody, man. It's pretty impressive. Just he's all baseball. His mind's just all baseball.
Episode most memorable of the year is, again, it's hard to top the Pete Alonso poop story.
I mistimed my pregame coffee. Mistimed it. I had it too close to game time, and then I'm running, doing my sprints, and then I throw. And then middle of the first inning, I'm like, goodness gracious, this is not good. So top of the second, I was leading off the inning, and I said, I don't care where this pitch is. This at bat is ending first pitch, because I need to go. And then first pitch, I get a hanging slider, and then I deposit it in the seats. And then as soon as I touch home plate, it was like it's straight to the bathroom. No high fives, straight to the bathroom.
Dude,
but
you hit a home. It's a home run, and it has to go. That is epic story, dude. That's epic.
That was best case, but dude, honestly, if I had to run the base, I would have gotten picked off on purpose or something, because I would have had to go so bad.
Todd, did you ever poop in the game?
So let me tell you a good story about Todd's problem. This happened twice to me when I was 14 and when I was 8 years old. Dude, this is a great story. So when I'm 9 years old, we have an all-star game. We're up 5-1. Scott Fisher, all of a sudden, the last inning, he's getting hit around 5-2, 5-3. Dude, I'm at shortstop. All of a sudden, I couldn't hold it in anymore. It just fell right out. Coach goes, Todd, we need you to pitch. So listen, this is so gross, but it's real. I'm just being real. I had a puddle on the bottom of my pants. Okay, so it was just straight mush, and I had the pitch, dude. First pitch, I come up. The umpire goes, "Hey man, you got 2 outs." He goes, "Holy shit, what's that smell?" I said, at 9 years old, I thought quick. I'm like, "Yeah, man, I just walked up here, and by the way, my pants are filled with just garbage." Next thing you know, first pitch, base clearing triple. We're down 6-5. Get the next guy out. I ran right to the porta john. My dad goes, "You all right?" I said, "Dad, my underwear is gone. I'm wearing these pants, but when I get in the car, please have something for me," because it was so bad.
All right, so I am here with Scott Braun, which is not a stage name, I've learned. What is your favorite moment from year one of Foul Territory?
Well, first off, being here and on location for a lot of shows, that overall has been
This
awesome.
place is amazing.
Really cool.
Amazing.
The sports book is awesome. Obviously, the setup here, they've made us feel just like home. A lot of fans galvanized around the show. And then player-wise, one that stands out when we have Mookie Betts on and he's telling us exactly what went down with the Red Sox.
Boston is just a different culture, a different life there than it is in LA, and different opportunities. And so, being in LA, the move to LA has probably been, even though I wasn't really ready for it, and I know people don't believe it, but I wanted to stay in Boston my whole career. Like that's where I grew up. That's my life. Like I know everybody there. It was a short flight to Nashville. Like everything, it was perfect. And when that move happened, and I was sad, and I was like, man, I don't want to go out west. The traffic. I ain't trying to go out there, and this, that, and the other. But it was actually kind of a blessing in disguise. My family loves it. A different way of life.
Just want to shout out Borgata, obviously, for hosting us all year. And on the comic side of things, they've got the Borgata Comedy Club. You can see the full Comedy Club listing at theborgata.com. Don't miss the area's best comics taking the stage. Thank you so much to Borgata and BetMGM Sportsbook for hosting us. What's up? Braun, Pierzynski, Kratz back with you, working through some things today. But let's get right into some very pressing, relevant topics that have just emerged while we've been on. The Yankees held a press conference. We've been waiting to hear from them for a bit. Hal Steinbrenner spoke. Let's roll out a little tweet about the news that we learned. So he said Aaron Boone believes bunting is becoming a bigger part of the game. So the expectation is that it will increase. There's a great tweet from, hold on, I'll bring it up. I think it was Tim Healy, who I follow, who covers the Mets, but he said, just incredible stuff today from the Yankees. They were silent for more than a month after the season. And then their grand breaking of silence, this is the biggest takeaway. Because, I mean, I was looking at, play-by-play tweets from what else was said, and there was nothing else said. It was just, last year was disappointment. We're going to look to make changes and do stuff in the free agent market and trades. So.
And bunt. Aaron Judge, bunt. Giancarlo Stanton, bunt.
Anthony Rizzo,
bunt.
Who else do we want to bunt? Volpe can bunt sometimes.
Volpe, yeah. The catcher, Wells, bunt.
When he comes back, the Martian, should he bunt?
Yeah, Jason Dominguez should definitely bunt.
It's a big part of the game now.
I will say this, though. In defense of the Yankees, one time when I was with the White Sox, Jim Thome was on 499 homers, and we had a meeting in Oakland, and Kenny Williams told him he should bunt. And we all just looked at Jim. We're like, going to bunt? And he's like, no, I went deep. Went deep the next game, walk off. If he would have bunted, he wouldn't have hit it.
Why did he tell him that?
Because we had just played the Red Sox in 2007, and Erik Kratz had bunted against us because we shifted on him, and he bunted a double. He bunted it down the left field line for a double. So it got in Kenny's head, and Kenny's like, well, you should bunt more. He looked right at Jim and goes, we got guys going for milestone homers that need to bunt. And we all looked at Jim. We're like, Jim's like, Jim just started laughing. And I think it was the next game, Jim hit his 500 homer for a walk-off against the Angels.
All for not listening. Imagine if he listened. He might still be sitting on 499.
Might not be in the whole thing.
Like 100-something homers late. Didn't he finish with like 600?
Yeah, it was 600 something.
Yeah. So anyway, Kratz, what do you think about this breaking news that the Yankees discovered, this thing called bunting?
I think we're using too much into the vernacular. Like him saying we're going to be bunting doesn't mean you're going to see a bunch of dudes bunting. To me, it means we have to change how we're going to affect the game offensively, because just waiting around for the launch angle dingers is why they just had to wait around for Judge to carry this team. And I think the bunting, yes, they may bunt more, but I mean, more than none is a lot. So they were not starting at like a high number of, we bunted this many times, so now we're going to increase it. I think you're going to see them. You started seeing them at the beginning of the year when their legs were fresh, running a little bit more. That kind of got curtailed a little bit. I think they're looking to, how are we going to maximize the same lineup, which Yankee fans are going to be so pissed that they're going to run the same lineup out there, the lineup that didn't score the runs that the Yankees thought they were going to. And they're probably going to add a starting pitcher to this team. And so they're trying to get ahead of the fact that they're going to run out the same lineup, which in their opinion, they're going to come back healthier. They're going to come back on a mission. They're going to be better hitters, especially now with their new hitting coach. Old J-Ro is going to be in there, and he's going to hopefully implement something that they can actually bring guys up from the minor leagues that can impact the big leagues too. So is it just going to be bunting? No, it's going to be, hey, you know what? We need to be able to manufacture runs when G isn't hitting his 35 home runs, when Judge isn't hitting his 45 home runs. How do we get that done?
Well, we have that little soundbite, so let's run it.
So one thing that was discussed in August is bunting. I mean, I think Aaron Boone thinks that we're not teaching the young players to bunt enough. What we do in player development is, try to evolve with the game. Bunting is less a part of the game than it was 10 years ago. I looked it up. 10 years ago, I think the average team bunted successfully, sacrificed bunts like 30 times in an entire season. Now that number's down to like 12 or 13. We bunted 7 or 8 times last year. We're right in line with the Texas Rangers. So yes, a few years ago in player development, we kind of cut back on the bunting skills, but Aaron Boone feels it's becoming a bigger part of the game again. He feels it's important, so we're gonna start right up again.
By the way, maybe they just try to get more athletic and not be relying on homers. How about we just say that? Because I think they looked at other teams. They looked at like the Diamondbacks, and they're like, "Oh, they bunted and ran. We can try that." Except you don't have a team made for that, so it's hard. If you have a team that is built on homers and homers and homers, great. But if you don't have guys that can bunt, you're gonna be like, "Hey, Aaron, why don't you start bunting? You hit 62 homers in your last healthy year. Oh, you hit almost, you hit a ton this year, and you were hurt for a while." Like, no, like Stan's not bunting. Some of these guys aren't. It's not. If you're gonna have a bunting running team, you have to make your team like that, like the Reds, like the Diamondbacks, like teams like that. You just can't have be like, "Oh, we're gonna start bunting because other teams have done it." Like, it doesn't work like that. We're gonna start developing guys to bunt. Well, that means you're gonna have to draft more athletic guys and go away from your launch angle, Dylan Lawson whole skit, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious, Kratz, why a press conference was called too. It looked like somebody woke me up out of bed in the middle of the night and said, "Quick, we're doing a press conference and you're talking about something you don't really have much to say about. Ready? Go." And I'd be like, bunting. I had a dream about bunting.
That's how I felt when you guys were. That's how I felt when you guys were off. That's what I felt like talking to Sharma.
Dude, but it's not mandatory. Like, they didn't have to have a press conference when they didn't have anything to say.
I think they did, and I'm reading more between the lines of the whole bunting thing. To me, and I talked to somebody today about it, there's a disconnect from the minor leagues to the big leagues in the sense of what types of hitters they're bringing up. And I'm not saying Boone was taking a shot at the minor leagues. I'm saying they had months of meetings because they were out of it by August. So they were having meetings by, September and October. And out of this, the organization is looking for their core lineup. They're not asking Giancarlo. They're not asking Judge to bunt. They're looking for their core lineup to do what they're supposed to do. And whether that happens or not, that's how this roster's built. They're looking for their 6, 7, 8 hitters, their 7, 8, 9 hitters who are going to cycle through minor leaguers. It's going to be Esteban Florial. It's going to be, Oswaldo. It's going to be guys that are coming up. It could be Austin Wells. Who knows what they're going to do with their catching situation. They need these guys to come up to be able to help the team win. And when you never work on things in the minor leagues, you are sure as heck not going to be able to do it when you get to the big leagues because everything is ratcheted up another level. So I think this was their nice way of saying, we've looked at player development. We've looked at I would call them fringe players on our roster, and how are they going to be able to affect the team? Not saying that the guys they called up, AAA big leagues, the Billy McKinney, those guys were the ones that made the Yankees lose this year. Ultimately, it's going to come down to the core guys. The core guys are not going to be bunting. That is not what I heard in this situation. I hear this is hopefully a shift for those minor leaguers. Hey, figure out how to win, not just figure out how to do something good against below average pitching.
I also just want to be pretty clear here. Bunting during the regular season, for the most part, is not the move in our game.
It depends on your team, though.
Sure,
but I think it's built.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks did they bunt that much during the regular season?
No, but they did. They put pressure, and the bunting thing is just. I think this was just another kind of what Kratz said, a shot at the way they were developed. Remember when we had Ben Root on, and he was like 95 miles an hour or more on the exit velos. All they care about. That's it. If you strike out, doesn't matter. If you get a base hit, but it's a blooper, doesn't count. Has to be 95 or above. Well, ask Luis Ariz how many balls he hit that were 95 or above that counted as hits, and he was on base. Ask how many hitters you're 0 for 15 and you get a broken bat hit, how good it makes you feel. Like, you don't always have to get a hit at 95 plus or hit a ball 95. There was plenty of times you'd be going 0 for 10, you hit 8 balls 95 plus, and they're ground balls and they're outs. So, I mean, it's not about that. It's about how can you help us get on base, whether it's bunting, running, put pressure on the other team. And the Yankee system we've talked about has been flawed. It's flawed.
But I'm just like Mike Petriello posted the bunting totals for this year. Most bunts in 2023. The highest were the Oakland A's. They were at, it looks like mid-70s. It's a bar chart. Is that what you call this? Bar?
Yeah,
bar
which
graph?
is funny, though, about that because the A's forever were the team that never bunted.
Right.
Remember?
But they didn't have the personnel to win games normally sometimes. So there you go. And then Arizona was in second. They were a little under 70. And it's like Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Cincinnati. I mean,
Again, but like San Francisco with Gabe Kapler, he's Mr. Analytics, right? A lot of bunts. It's weird. Oakland, heavy analytics, a lot of bunts.
Other side, the least bunts, like barely, like single digits from Atlanta, barely over 10 from Dodgers, Seattle, Texas.
But those teams aren't built for that.
They bang.
They're not built.
I know
Atlanta
they
doesn't
bang.
have guys that bunt. They got 30 homers in every position.
But don't you want the Yankees to bang? Shouldn't they?
They're
be
going
good?
to. They're gonna bang.
Wait, you guys just said two different things. You said they're going to. You said they don't have those people.
They have Stanton and Judge.
Yep.
Okay. And then they have Rizzo. He ain't bunting. He didn't hit 30. He had a bad year. He was concussed all year.
Right.
Right.
No, that's my point. Is this personnel
but
is
the
going
teams,
to bang?
The
or
teams
should
that
bang.
they need them to bang, but the teams that bunt are built to bunt.
Yes.
The teams that don't bunt, but they're also like the Diamondbacks. Those dudes were brought up that way, right? Corbin Carroll, right? Those guys, Lawler, right? Alec Thomas. These guys were Perdomo. Perdomo, hell, he bunted how many times in the postseason? Every time Longo bunted in the postseason.
Yeah, well, that was
right. But I'm saying there's a million times Perdomo bunt. Every time it was a guy on base for Perdomo, he was like, "Boop, that's a bunt." I mean, it was automatic, right?
Yeah, we got to jump, Kratz. We're going to do this on the other side, okay? We're off on Stadium in 10 seconds. We'll see everyone on the FT YouTube channel. If you want to keep this conversation going, we'll hit on some of the other stuff we didn't get to. Be right back.
So I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
What's up? We're live. It's foul territory. It's Braun, Pierzynski. How's my headroom? Should I drop it a little bit? How's that? A little better? Beautiful. What's up, people? So we'll take some questions here over the next 20 minutes or so, and we'll go over some things that we didn't get to. And I thought you were going to make a Yankees joke with the bobblehead.
He's bunting. Posada's bunting.
Posada's bunting. No, Posada's so angry that he's kind of looking the other way. He's like,
he doesn't even want to look.
I can't watch this press conference. It's so cringe. Okay. Kratz, sorry I cut you off on the topic that we were on. You good?
No, I mean, I'm just reiterating what AJ reiterated about what I said. It's not about the bunting.
I know, but you said it. He said it.
He said it, but okay, so do you want Hal Steinbrenner to come out and say, you know what we didn't do? We didn't manufacture runs. We stood around like bumps on the log waiting for a home run, and you know what? 162 games passed, and it didn't happen. So we stunk based on the development of our hitting philosophy in an organization that has been the Yankee way for the entire life of this organization. And now we just decided to institute things that people that never played wanted to institute. And you know what? It didn't go well. Instead, he said, you know what? We're going to bunt. We're going to do a little more bunting, which means the dudes that are the superstars need to step up. Anthony Rizzo is a winner. He has won a World Series. He wants to win. He will do what it takes. I've seen him bunt when they used to do the shift to be able to stop the shift. That's what the idea of bunting is okay, we got to do what it takes to win. Longoria put that bunt down. Do you remember what Longoria's next at-bat was? It was the first bunt since, like, I don't know, Nam. I don't know when his last bunt was. Do you remember what his next at-bat was?
Was it the down the line extra base hit or whatever?
98 miles an hour off the bat ground ball to the third baseman. Young should have made the play, and it went by him because he was in protecting for what?
A bunt. I don't know. I think you're giving them way too much credit. You had a month to do a press conference. Also, nice job with your role play. I just think they should have sat down and said, hey, guys, number one, we said that there would be changes. We haven't made any changes yet. So let's go and be accountable and say, hey, here we are a month after we said we were going to talk.
Well, they brought a new hitting coach in.
Okay, so talk about
that. Which everybody loves, by the way.
Is that official or was it the offer?
Yes.
It's official? Okay.
Everybody loves him.
That.
Everybody loves a hitting coach the first time they see him too. I mean,
no. These are like the guys, like anybody that came up through the system knows this guy. J-Ro was with the organization for years.
Yeah, but does that mean he's a exit velocity launch angle guy then?
No. He left during that time. He's left, and then he came back. He was, I'm gonna get it wrong. He was something with the Marlins for 2 years, 2022, and then he was the assistant hitting coach with the Tigers last year. He was in the minor leagues when Judge and Sanchez and Higashioka and Greg Bird, when all those guys were coming up through.
And one of those guys can hit.
Only one can hit? Well, I'm not saying he's got superstars. I'm saying they all like him and he gets it. Exact quote from a player, I'll give it to you.
Higashioka.
He's a great guy and he connects well. He connects well with the players. Tons of experience in the game.
Great. No, that's fine.
That's great.
My thing is when
nobody said that about the other hitting coach they had. I'm not talking about Sean Casey.
Yeah, your boy. My thing is, if you're an owner having a press conference, I feel like you should have something to say. Otherwise, I don't think that you necessarily have to go out there and kind of embarrass yourself and be unprepared and talk about bunting. It's going to get destroyed. The next day or two is going to be rough based on those words, okay? And in my mind, it wasn't hard. I mean, first off, again, you don't have to call a presser right now if there's nothing to say. And if you want to at least just say, hey, we have a new hitting coach. We are still working on figuring out other changes. The biggest changes we need to make, Yankee fans, that you need to hear is we are going to be active not only in free agency, but we are going to be active in the trade market because what was out there last year did not work. But also, like Kratz mentioned, we did have injuries, including our best player was out for half the season. Let's keep that in mind. You know, if we win a few more games, well, in the American League, the wild card took more than that. So you had to be in the 90-win range. But, I mean, they were pretty close in terms of wins to the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they beat them in a series late towards the year. But point is, I think the accountability should just be like, which they did do this. We stunk. We haven't done much yet, even though we said we were going to. The offseason just started. Have patience with us. We're the freaking Yankees. We're the big bad boys that spend big money and fix our problems. And we will not allow another season like we just had for a long time. Drop the mic and leave.
Okay.
That's it.
That's fair.
I haven't seen the whole thing front to back, but it seemed very empty and awkward, almost like the mic was shoved in the face, like for a speech suddenly.
I'm not gonna bang an owner for whatever he says if he wants to come out. And so to me, I'm saying thank you for coming out and saying something, because if we bash an owner for saying what he thinks or what he felt like is on his mind, then they're just going to keep crawling back into their hole. So tip the cap to you, Hal.
Okay, fine. True. Thanks for speaking. All right, let's get to our BetMGM updated odds for the day. And we are going to look at a little state-by-state action of World Series winning teams. So obviously, California is going to be at plus 375 when you have more teams to work with. Not that you necessarily think any of those teams are going to win, but it does help to have the Dodgers. No, I'm saying it does help to have the Dodgers. AJ always thinks the Padres are going to make it to the World Series, so that helps. Then you got Texas with the Astros and the Rangers. That makes sense. New York's got the Mets and the Yanks. Philly jumping in there. I mean, technically Pennsylvania includes the Pirates, but good luck on that one. And then Florida and Illinois on your state odds of the World Series winning team.
Illinois is high to me. I mean, White Sox aren't winning the World Series next year.
Cubs. What about the Cubs?
I mean,
Craig Counsell, and they do a lot in the offseason.
They're going to have to do so much in the offseason. But here's my question. And this, I don't know if we're going to get back into the Counsell thing, but Counsell got paid $8+ million a year. Why is he anointed the best manager in baseball? Like, Bruce Bochy's won 4 World Series in like 10 years.
Who said he's the best manager in baseball?
People are like, oh, Bruce Bochy, the best manager, or Craig Counsell, the best manager in baseball. That's why he's getting paid so much.
Best manager available.
Best manager available, maybe. He's never won.
So you don't think the money was worth it?
I'm just saying he's never won. I'm not saying, listen, when you're an owner, you can spend the money however you want. But I just feel like if he's worth $8 million, shit, Bruce Bochy's worth like $100 million.
Bruce Bochy's been well paid for years.
I know.
I don't know what his current situation is. I know it's 4.5 or lower because that was reported by multiple people that was the highest amount. Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably many managers that are going to get to the end of a contract and go, hey.
Yeah, and you know what every owner's going to do?
Say,
suppress. Find someone else. That's what they've been doing for years.
Okay, so Bruce Bochy signed a 3-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it's so far away. It's only been one season. Let's say he had signed a 1-year contract. Doesn't he go to the Rangers and say, hey, guys, 3 more years, $10 million a year?
He's probably worth it. Craig Counsell's worth $8.
Yes.
Are they going to let him walk after they won the World Series and probably made $100 million this postseason?
That's the wrong team because that team will spend the money.
Okay.
Don't
that's
even.
Always going to be the conversation here. I mean, you're saying if the Bruce Bochy was running the Marlins and they won the World Series and then he said he wants 3x what he's making, they would say walk. But that's what they do. Exactly. That's not going to change. I think Kratz, because we didn't get to cover it that much. Mark Attanasio saying like you're leaving the community. I mean, the Cubs offered him like double the money. They put him in a bad position. I mean, I don't know. Do we know what the years were from the Brewers? I just saw a couple reports that said it was about double the money. So if he got 40, I'm assuming the Brewers offered 3, maybe 4. That was in the low 20 range. Whatever it is, that's not close.
I'm assuming 4 years. I'm assuming they offered 4 years because the number I heard was $5.5 million, which would have made him the highest paid manager by $1 million. The Cubs,
but the Cubs still beat him by double. So to me, if I'm Craig Counsell, I'm offended by that statement. I would say to ownership, that's offensive. Another team thinks I'm worth this. You think I'm worth half of that. And this is not big money.
Okay, yeah, the length of the contract, but Counsell had a lifetime contract there. If he signed for $5.5 million, he would have just continually re-signed. So I think there's a little bit, he was trying to rally his fan base.
What if they lost 100 games the next 4 seasons in Milwaukee? He's guaranteed to be the highest paid manager for life?
No, if they don't win, no. Obviously, he doesn't even want to be there if they don't win. He's not a manager that's looking to rebuild.
So then that's not a lifetime contract.
That's you just said he had a lifetime contract.
He could be there for as long as he wanted to be there. So you're saying you just got to...
Even if he wanted to be there and they lose 100 games 3 years in a row, he's like, I still want to be back. They'd be like, yeah, hit the road.
Okay. So you're saying he's got to get his $40 million right up front here and take it.
He's in the Midwest, clearly a location he likes. I mean, I read a lot about how the Mets offered lower and then didn't want to become the bidding war for a place that I think they were tipped off he didn't want to end up in. I was wrong. I'll take the hit on that. I was like, he's going wherever the top money is. It sounded like the Mets and the Cubs, even if the Mets did get up to that number, were going to be close enough that he was going to choose to be in the Midwest. Cool. All good, right? So they didn't want to get involved in that when they didn't feel like he was going there. And if anyone would have the inclination, it would be David Stearns. So, okay, let's shift to the Midwest. He's in Chicago. He's going to have what presumably should be more resources in a very winnable division most years. and he's being offered double the money, not just for himself and his family and his life, but also for the position, which is what we're talking about right now, to raise the value of the position if you are worth it. To me, it wasn't even close, and I think it's offensive because I do think there's not a ball club in MLB that can't afford to pay an extra few $1,000,000 for their manager. Even if you're Milwaukee and you want to sign one less, flyer free agent or something like that and justify it that way, if you're given like an annual budget, right? I don't know why I did quotes like that. Who cares? I just don't understand why we're looking at it this way. I think my thing with Jed Hoyer Kratz too is that he looked at how the Brewers have done more with less many years and wants the Cubs to be able to do that even on years where maybe they don't spend as much or maybe they're going through injuries. He feels like this guy gets more out of his ball club based on his in-game managing, based on how he handles the clubhouse, and even how he's like the spokesman for the team as far as handling the media. And I think they made the right move there. If that's how they feel he is in the game, it's worth the money. This is chump change for MLB teams.
If there's a smaller market, tell me where it is in Milwaukee. If there's a team that can't afford it,
but
maybe
they
it is the Brewers.
Afford it. Their payroll is, dude. Their payroll. What was their payroll this year? Probably like
120 something.
Okay, so if your payroll for next year is 125, subtract 8, and then do your payroll, or really subtract 4 because you already kind of put in for $4 or $5 mil, right? Subtract a few $1,000,000 from your payroll in what you have to work with for the offseason, and you can't field the team that you want to field. I think it's a garbage excuse.
Mm-hmm. I think there's also reports that I've heard there wasn't much back and forth. He got that offer, and I don't know that he went back to Antanasio.
So maybe he also knows what's going to happen. Maybe he knows they're about to go through a rebuild, and he's like, I don't want to be a part of it, and I can cash in. I mean, I think, we talked about it yesterday. Without him, bye-bye Burns, no Woodruff, bye-bye, I don't know if you guys
heard Sharma talking. He's kind of on my side of what the Cubs are going to do next. The Cubs, he doesn't think the Cubs are going to push all in. They played the clip right after he said this, and you guys were talking, they're going to be in for this, they're going to be in for that, all this. He doesn't think that the Cubs are going to be all in, and that's kind of why they went with Counsell, that they can keep nickel and diming and putting a roster together, but Counsell's going to figure out how to win it.
My only thing I have a problem with is just trying to pin it on saying a dude, took the money to be a traitor or something like that. He doesn't owe them something. I don't think that's fair. He did a lot. You contributed a lot while you were there. Let's appreciate that and say, okay, our team, our ownership decided this job, this position is not worth that rate. So we move on. Right?
Yeah.
It's not his fucking fault.
It's not Counsell's fault.
When he comes back, right, next year, what will they do? What should they do? I mean,
there's going to be some cheers and some boos.
They're going to cheer. They should cheer the hell out of him. Like,
they won't.
Ryan Braun came back and they cheered the hell out of him.
Well, he only did steroids, so that's not as big of a deal.
Ryan Braun came back. When did Ryan Braun come back?
After his suspension for, not knowing what he was taking with some other people.
They stood up and cheered. And that's fine.
I mean, it's Brian Braun's in their damn Hall of Fame.
Right. So my point is, correct me if I'm wrong. Milwaukee fans, we should put this out here. When Craig Counsell comes back next year, you're going to give him a standing ovation, right? No?
No.
Have you followed Milwaukee Twitter?
No, it's close enough.
It's on fire. I tried to put out a tweet to cut. I just said basically just about, hey, cheer the fact that this man went to as many playoffs as he did. He did this as a player. Yes, it hurts that he's leaving. And yes, it hurts even more that he went to the Cubs. But don't just chastise him. He was in a position to move on. And, man, the responses that I got, they were some of the nicest ones were like, yes, I understand what you're saying, but I will not cheer this man. And then it was, I will never cheer for him. And all of the memories of these playoffs will be seared in my mind, but I will blot him out of my existence. And somebody sent me a Thanos snapping. They are going to boo the absolute snot out of him.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
It is, but that's how it happens. I mean, they're heartbroken. And
heartbroken.
And
They
think he was a Milwaukee guy. He should have stayed there. And then Mark Antanasio saying what he said just kind of fueled the fire. What he said was fueling the fans, and he has the right again to do whatever he wants. But
I didn't see this much. I didn't see $3.5 million more than the next highest paid. I didn't see that coming, let alone see it to the Cubs.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's
great
also
for the
a great
rivalry. I wasn't rooting for it for the record, okay? I don't give a shit what happens. I'm just here for the ride, enjoying it. My point is, obviously I'm a little spicy today, but like the point is a team offered him a lot more money. They valued him higher. Period.
Fine. Go get your
money. He was just under their watch for a long ass time too.
Go get your money.
Do you think there were ever conversations with him over the last
My better question is,
years?
why did they let him get to this point? They should have never let it get there.
That's exactly what I was saying just now. Why did we get to this point? He's been under your watch for a long time. You're telling me that they never put a big fat number down and said, you're the best, dude. This is what it has to look like.
And I would say what AJ said, like, and this is the other thing that Milwaukee fans are saying. Is he the best? Like, Milwaukee fans were like, no, screw that guy. He didn't win us a World Series championship. That's what Milwaukee fans want. Like, so is he the best? I know what I think of him. I have a personal opinion of what he can do and the relationship I have with him. So, I'm jaded in that sense. But AJ's 100% right. He didn't win a World Series. And so at the end of this 5 years with the Cubs, is it a successful contract if the Cubs don't win a World Series?
It should be considered no.
Right?
For me. I mean, my question is, listen, I don't know Craig Counsell the way you do. I've talked to him a million times, obviously, going in there and doing games. But he's paid as the highest paid manager. Now, granted, it was timing. But listen, you can make an argument, if you're going to say, well, A.J. Hinch has a World Series. Dave Roberts has a World Series. Right? I mean, Dusty Baker, he retired. He doesn't have one anymore. But there's a whole slew of guys out there that have World Series. Bruce Bochy has 4. Right, he did his first year with Texas.
Mm-hmm.
First year.
Also, let's not there's 2 pieces to the puzzle here. The roster has to be put in place for him. He's not choosing who the Cubs trade for and sign. He's going to try and maximize the roster to the best of his ability, but in the same realm.
But shouldn't he also have a say in it? He's definitely gonna have a say in it.
Yeah, probably a little bit. I don't know how much.
You're just gonna sit back and be like, just bring in whoever you want, Jed?
No, but also front offices are going to have the final say on that front. They're making the decisions and the moves. He might have more say based on what he's brought to the
$8
table.
million a year. He better have some say.
But like Ohtani's been the best player in the league the last 3-4 years. I mean, is it on him that they haven't won? Or just looking at the highest paid players or pitchers? Like, it takes a lot to be a winning ball club. It's not just like NFL.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes.
So then you're making you know what you're making right now?
What?
The owner's arguing why they don't pay managers.
Then don't. Let's see what happens.
You're making the argument right there. You just made it.
No, I need both. Okay, you just said Bruce Bochy is a star manager, correct?
I mean,
how would Bruce Bochy do this year if he was managing the Tigers? If he was managing the A's, he's not getting them to.
He's not going to the Tigers or the A's. He's going to a team that has the possibility of winning.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Rangers fielded him.
Buck Showalter was considered one of the best managers in baseball. Right. He went to the Mets. They sucked. They got rid of him. Right now they're like, we're going to bring in a guy who has no managerial experience. The Yankees bench coach. Okay, fine. But again, and then Cohen's like, well, I'm not paying for a manager. I'm not paying $8 million.
Well,
for a manager.
They were in the bidding for Counsell.
But I don't think they were ever going to go to $8 million a year. So, but my point is you just made the argument that, well, you're like, well, it just depends on the players. Well, then the manager doesn't matter.
No, I said both.
You can hire
I said both.
You can hire you to be.
Did I not say both?
You said both, but your argument, AJ's spot on. Your argument is in a microcosm why front offices subside, stomp down their salaries. And there's only 30 jobs. And the front offices say, hey, you know what? We made this team. We'll make sure that everybody's war total is up to snuff. And if you don't win it, it's okay. We're not getting fired. We're going to push you out and we're going to, bring the next guy in. So that it is not, your argument was exactly what the owners say. Now you're saying you want both. But I think you need to do apples to apples. Would Bruce Bochy have won the World Series if he had the Diamondbacks roster?
We don't know. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
What if he had the Brewers roster?
We'll never know. But we
Never
also
know. What if Craig Counsell was the Rangers manager?
You guys
Game
are
one?
taking what I'm saying too extreme.
No, we're
I said,
taking exactly what you said.
If the
Into
Cubs
what you
have a
said.
good roster, Craig Counsell can lead them to the promised
Why
land.
would the
Period.
Why would the Cubs not go all in? If you're paying $8 million for a manager, like when they got Joe Madden, they went all in.
Well, isn't that what we talked about over the last 24 hours? That's what they should be doing.
Yeah, but Kratz said, the guy we had on didn't say that.
Sharma didn't think so. Sharma said he has a hard time believing Jed Hoyer is going to.
Not Jed Hoyer. It's the Ricketts. It ain't Jed Hoyer. Jed Hoyer probably.
Okay.
It's the Ricketts boys that don't want to spend because they're making
Fair.
so much money. They're like, why would we spend all this money? We pack it every night. We got that lawn area. We got in the hotel across the street where the visiting teams stay. So the visiting teams stay to. They pay to stay in a place the Cubs own.
I know, but
which is unbelievable to me.
That's
if I was
awesome.
Another team, I'd be like, I ain't staying there. I'm giving them money. I'm
you don't
giving
have to
the
stay
Cubs
there,
money.
but do you not want to be able to walk 3 steps and be in the ballpark?
Or would you not be able to stay downtown Chicago and walk 3 steps and have a great restaurant on every corner?
Why can't you do that?
You can.
Right. The team can decide to stay somewhere else.
I just don't understand. I said, I don't
never
understand why
stayed there.
another team would decide to stay in a hotel owned by the Cubs and give the Cubs their money. It makes
We never
no
stayed
sense.
there for that reason.
It makes, huh?
We never stayed there for that reason.
It makes
so
no
there
sense.
you go. They didn't stay there.
But some teams do.
But maybe that's just because it's convenient and they like it.
And they like giving the Cubs their money.
Good.
What if they
Fine.
owned every hotel in Chicago?
Now you're just being stupid.
You guys said I'm being stupid because I said that the Cubs also have to field a good roster? Of course they have to field a good roster.
No.
That's not what you said.
That's not. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's run the CTA, please.
Wow.
Hey, I need Chicago. I need Georgia on that list. I want to know how much Georgia. I want to see what the plus money is for Georgia.
Nope, you don't get it. Bet 10, bet 200 instantly in bonus bets. See our terms and our tweet for more information. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Even Willie Beeman thinks Scott's stupid at this point.
He was looking at. Normally, he's looking at us like, yeah, that one. He was looking at Scott like
you're defending both sides here. Do you like the move or not?
I think the move is great if you're the Cubs and you're going to go all in. But why would you pay $8 million to manager and be like, oh, we're going to slash payroll and try to nickel and dime it? That doesn't make sense to me. Like if you're going for it, you go for it.
I feel like we're arguing just to argue. I'm on the same exact page. I like the move. They decided this guy was better than what they had in their mind. They wanted to make a change. They felt like this was a once in a while, not a long time, right? Or not a lifetime, but once in a whatever opportunity to pick up a manager that they felt would help them pick up more wins. And then the next layer is, okay, let's see what you do in the offseason to support that.
You know who's pissed? Torey Lovello got a contract extension like days before Counts got his.
Did you see the A's too? And I'm sure Kotze's name was popping up in some of these other spots, and they were like,
he was.
We're adding another year on that. They had the option year, so they already picked it up for 2025.
Okay.
So he had 24, and then there was an option for 25. At least that's what I saw. And then they added that. That just happened this morning.
Is Counsell going to win Manager of the Year?
Oh,
this year?
He shouldn't.
Who's the Manager of the Year?
Snedeker. I love Snit.
What are your credentials for Manager of the Year? What do you value the most?
For me, it's Torey Lovello should have been on there, like Evan Longoria said, because they weren't expected and they made the World Series. I know it's voted on before the postseason, but the fact that they were in the playoff race to me shows me that Torey Lovello did something right.
But listen, it's before the postseason.
I just said that.
So that's okay.
You don't listen.
You need to listen, Scott.
Can we show the Longo quote? You'll show it in a second.
Well, here's the thing. Counsell, the Brewers were expected to probably be in contention. Obviously, the Braves were expected to be in contention. Who was the third one in the National League?
I got pulled up.
Yeah. Well, here's Longo.
Whoever votes for Manager of the Year missed big on this one. And how? This is the NL Manager of the Year, and it really shouldn't even be close. What a joke. Longo on IG. So you think he should have won it?
I think he should at least be a finalist.
Finalist,
so he should have gotten top 3, you're saying?
100%. And he probably should have won because most of the time,
they're your candidates, by the way.
Oh, Skip Schumacher should win that going away.
Easy.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
Easily.
Wait.
He should already have the trophy in his hand. He should be having it in Marlins Park on the statue they have in the outfield.
On this very show, Kratz, I said once the Marlins clinched the postseason, I said congratulations. Do you remember that?
No.
Yes.
Not asking you. Okay, thank you.
It was a Friday.
Exactly. You don't work Fridays. Once the Marlins clinched the postseason, I said congratulations, Skip. You won Manager of the Year for what they put together, and also keep in mind who they were missing at the end of this past season too. Wait, so okay, I can see what you're saying too with Torrey being a finalist, the top three.
I would have bounced Snicker out of there for. I mean, they were supposed to win.
Roster was stacked.
They were supposed.
But wait, tell Longo that he's wrong. It's not just a lock that Lovello should have won that award.
He should have, because their over/under going into the year was like 74, and they made the playoffs. So
what was the Marlins?
Marlins had to be way lower.
But I said Schumacher and Torrey.
Pick one.
I'll take Skip. I'll take Skip.
Same. Skip. So that's just my point. If Longo was on, we'll get him on maybe sometime this offseason.
But I think what I'm saying is he should have at least been in there. No offense to Snit. I played for Snit. Snit is Snit. But they were expected to win 100 games. It wasn't like they went into the season like, the Braves are going to finish 5th this year, and they won 100 games. I mean, everyone's like, if they don't win 100 games, something's wrong. All you did was just write the same 9 names every day.
Until game 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah, the American League one to me, it should be Bochy easy too. I mean, no offense to Kevin Cash, no offense to Brandon Hyde. Again, those teams were expected to compete. The Rangers weren't supposed to compete. They weren't supposed to win the World Series.
What about the Orioles, though?
We're expected to be. This was supposed to be the year.
The Orioles were slapping the Fangraphs win projections and all that shit all over the walls of the clubhouse, saying they don't expect us to do anything.
Fangraphs ain't always right.
Obviously, they're safe. Everything's kind of towards the 80s in terms of wins.
Yeah, but Brandon Hyde, listen, the Orioles were expected to be good this year. No. Kevin Cash, the Rays were expected to be good. Bruce Bochy, the Rangers were like, we don't know what we're going to get, and then DeGrom goes down. Then you lose.
I think Hyde. I take Hyde on that one because you have to stop your narrative before the playoffs, because this is voted on before the playoffs. To me, I think this is Hyde all the way.
Okay, that's fine.
American League East won the division with a young team that he got given nobody, 0 players. Like, they went out and got Jack Flaherty, who was in their bullpen by September. Hyde.
All right, that's fine. We'll see.
Hyde and Schumacher. But I would love to see Counts win it. That would have been tremendous.
Also, just to be clear on how this works, so like Highlight 8, who's with us all the time in the chat, said, should there be more than 3 nominees? I hate even saying that because of how popular it is to bitch and complain and demand change in the sport nowadays.
No.
Well, no. Wait. Let me clarify. You can vote for whoever you want. The voting is already decided.
These are the 3 highest votes.
It's just a marketing ploy to kind of extend the conversation with MLB. So here, I'll lay it out for everyone. Season ends. The writers who are voting for each particular category get their ballot. They fill it in. They send it in. Then you know who won at that point, right? It goes through whoever audits that. There's usually some independent service that audits it and comes up with the winners. And then they send in this week who the top 3 finishers are. It's not like then they take those 3 and go, oh, we're going to vote from that. That's not how this works.
Revote.
So just highlight, just for you to know, everyone can vote for whoever they want. This is just saying the top 3, and then they announce the winner. It's just
recount.
It's just for fun.
I think they got the top. I think they got the top guy in there. I think Lovello, absolutely should have gotten an opportunity to be in there, but it's hard to argue with those 3. I think Snit's out, but so I think it's Skip and Hyde, Brandon Hyde.
I can't say enough about what Skip Schumacher just did in Miami.
And the other thing is the other awards that they announced, like, they're pretty easy to pick who's going to win. I feel like
they're boring this year.
MVP, Cy Young, those are all decided already.
Yeah,
there's not even we can show but we know Snell's going to win. We know Cole's going to win. We know Acuna's going to win, and pretty sure Ohtani's going to win. I mean, it's pretty easy voting this year for the major awards in baseball. Rookie of the Year, Gunnar Henderson, obviously, in the AL. NL's Corbin Carroll. There's not really a lot of question marks.
Should they move it up on a year like this? Should they move? I know they had the whole plan of, they do it in Times Square or wherever they do it, Radio City, and they announce it. Should they move it up in years like this?
No, no. I think they just stick with what they've done. I just feel like, the other guys deserve recognition, like Mookie and Freddie, and the other guys that are all nominated and made the top 3, because that is a big accomplishment. But at the end of the day, just because you know who's going to win doesn't mean anything. And there you go. I mean, Acuna's winning that. I'm sorry.
It's over. It's over. Okay.
Yeah. And the fact that Mookie and Freddie are on there split votes. So that's another.
No.
I think even if it wasn't a year like this for Freddie, I still think
Acuna was going to win 40-70.
I do.
The players got it right. Now the voters will get it right.
They already celebrated too. They gave him his epic moment of silence that the Cubs loved when they were in Atlanta. Remember?
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, where he got his 70 bases and they stopped the game.
Oh
yeah. And Boog got all butthurt.
Boog got all butthurt.
Boo came on the next day, though. Boo came on the next day, and he apologized. No, he didn't. He said, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It was funny. I got to give him credit. He was like, yo, I've been through a lot worse. I don't care. Also, there's something that I want to dispel from off-season tweets and rumors and things that you see. Justin Velasco in the chat, always appreciate you hanging with us and having conversations within there, said the Red Sox have talked to Jordan Montgomery's agent. So 2 things. One, Jordan Montgomery's agent is Scott Boras. Scott Boras will be talking to every single team about all of his clients. So that's all that means. I'm not sure who put that out there, but actually let me know who put that out there. But just for everyone to realize, that doesn't mean the Red Sox are signing him. Every single team will have a conversation with Scott Boras. I actually heard Scott on somewhere speaking in the public the other day.
He was on John Heyman's show.
Yes. He said every week or so he talks to all 30 teams, the front offices, to get a checkup. So Jordan Montgomery's agent is going to talk to all 30 teams every week until he signs about Jordan and about others, just to kind of give some behind the scenes on how that all works.
By the way, I love that people are like, Red Sox have spoken to the agent. No shit. Like, I hope they reached out to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope all the top free agents, guess what? Every team's already probably talked to Shohei's agent too. And they're like, hey, what are you thinking? Every team has probably reached out to every other top free agent. Cody Bellinger, they're probably like, hey, what are you guys thinking? Or let us know if we're even a thought. And then you don't hear from them for like a month until the winter meetings. And then they're like, nothing really happens for like the next month because everyone's like, oh, I don't want to be the first team to put myself out there.
I don't know how big league free agency works. Never happened for me. But I know minor league free agency, teams would call at the 12 o'clock when it was 12 o'clock, when it was 12 a.m. was the free agency. They would call before that until John Coppolella started calling ahead of time, and that was illegal, and that's why he got fired. But
no, that's not why. That was the
okay.
least. It
was one of the illegal things he was doing.
That was one of the least of his transgressions.
Exactly. So that's why he was doing it. But so I'm sure whatever your team is, if your team wants to win, sorry, Oakland, sorry, Colorado, your team has not talked to any agents.
Kansas City.
Well, I don't know. Dayton Moore,
the new Royals White Sox team. They're combined now.
Yeah.
The new white Royals. Sox.
The Royal Sox. They'll wear different color socks. They're talking to everybody. They're calling because it matters. It matters who the first team is that calls. And AJ's been through it. Maybe it didn't matter to you. Maybe it was all about the money, but you would be able to speak to the big league free agency side of it.
Here's what I was free agency. You get a call like the first few days of free agency from like 4, 5, 6 teams, 7 teams. Like the one you can kind of look at a roster and be like, okay, I have a fairly good idea of where I could end up. And they all call and say, okay, we'll check back in with you later on in the offseason. Just keep us in mind. And then you don't hear anything for a month, and then it gets to like December, and the winter meetings are happening, and your agent's at the winter meetings, and he bumps into them. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll get to you. We're waiting on Shohei to sign, waiting on some trades, waiting on some dominoes to fall. And then all of a sudden, it gets to like, Thanksgiving, December-ish, and you're like, okay, now what do I do? And then, what they also hope is you start panicking, right? And every player is like, oh, no, it's January and I haven't signed yet. Where am I going to end up? and you always end up in the place you're supposed to end up.
Where was it for you? What was holding it up for you? Was there somebody like you had to wait for?
It just depended on the year. It just depended on where I was the year. And I remember one year, 2014, I had an offer from almost the exact same offer from the Twins and the Red Sox before I went to sign with the Red Sox. And I was like, all right, which one do I go to? And I remember I was in Hawaii. It was Thanksgiving. I was in Hawaii with my family, and I'm like, man, what do I do here? Which one do I sign with? Which one do I sign with? And I was like, all right, I think the Red Sox. I've already played for the Twins. Looking back, I probably should have went back to the Twins, and then I picked the Red Sox, and then like 2 days later, I get a call from Gardenhire, and he's like, man, I really, I want you to come sign with us. And I was like, shit, if you would have called me 2 days ago, I had already told the Red Sox that I was going to go there. So it was like, I told him, I was like, damn, Gardy, if you would have called me 2 days ago, I would have been there. Instead, I went to the Red Sox. But listen, I can always say I got to play for the Red Sox. So, I mean, they paid me a shitload. The Twins are going to pay me close to the same amount. So it was fine. It was just one of those where it was like, damn, literally, I'll never forget. I was at Pearl Harbor, and I was on the phone with John Farrell. And at the time, I was at Pearl Harbor,
Sherrington.
John Farrell and Sherrington.
Yeah.
And I'm on a phone call with him as I'm going across the water to the USS Arizona. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I gotta go, guys. I'm going to this place where you can't really talk. Because once you cross, you're not really supposed to speak because there's still bodies in the water, So I'm like, can I call you guys back when I get back across land? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then we had another conversation and, slept on it, talked to my family for a little while, made a decision. But it was tough because both they want to know, like, quick, they want to know. I want to know now. And so, chose the Red Sox. Might not have been the right choice, but it was what it was. And loved playing in Boston. And
got to check it off the bucket list.
That's right. I can always say I was a Red Sox for a few months.
There you go. All right, so last thing I wanted to get to was the qualifying offers. We touched on it for a sec, but the guys that were offered, it's about $20 million, were Ohtani, Bellinger, Hader, Snell, Aaron Nola, Sonny Gray, and Matt Chapman. And then the guys who didn't get qualifying offers, none of those guys are going to take them, guaranteed. The guys who didn't get qualifying offers, Rhys Hoskins, Teoscar Hernandez, JD Martinez, Jorge Soler. Do any of those surprise you? Because for me personally, I'm very surprised Jorge Soler didn't get one. I know the Marlins are probably scared that he would have taken it, but I don't think he would have. I think he's going to get more in the market. It is a very weak position player market. There is not much offense at all on this market. It is one of the weaker markets I've seen in a long time, maybe ever. JD Martinez, I think, is worth $20 million as a player. No,
DH only.
But Soler is basically a DH only.
Soler is the one that he can play the outfield if you need him.
But you're not gonna play him much in the outfield.
Depends on where he goes.
If you want a good defensive
there's
ball
things in a team like Philly. They said that about certain people, and they still play him. So,
well, no, Schwarber's a DH only.
But then they signed him. He played left field until they got more.
Mistake.
Well, but teams still do it. I think Soler is the one that I'm surprised didn't get it, just for the fact that the Marlins value draft picks so much. Probably wasn't going to come back, and he probably wouldn't have accepted it. Because he can go out there, he can get 4 years, 80s, something like that.
Oh, wow. My guess was like, I have predictions for all of them. Kratz said what, 4 years, 60?
4 years, 46, 3 years, 46.
That's what you think? Okay. Either way, regardless,
it's over
way
20.
more money. He is not taking the qualifying offer. Do you think he
JD, who do you think had a better year value-wise? JD or Jorge?
Well, I'm assuming JD since you're bringing it up.
JD by a smidge. So, if you're looking for offense.
And wait, what are you going off of?
Yeah, but what's the age? JD's what, 38?
JD's 37.
He's not 38.
He's 36. Just turned 36 a couple months ago. I think the Marlins would have, but if you can't handle the price of going all in, they can't go all in. They did not want a $20 million player on their roster.
Do the Rays have any $20 million position players? They have Glass now, I think, is.
They have Wander Franco.
That's true.
Too soon.
No, it's not too soon. That's a very curious case. We're going to get some info about that at some point, I would think. Unless he's not playing ever again. But Soler, so you're going off of OPS plus? Is that what you were going off of?
OPS plus, WAR. To me,
JD was 134. Yeah, I mean, they were pretty similar. And I think they're both worth $20 million on this market. I think JD.
Not a year.
A year, but
JD's probably going to get a 1 year
extension. I think that might be a little low.
JD, if it's a 1 year deal, gets about the same, if not a little bit more.
Well, the Dodgers just didn't want to give him 20 million.
68.
Wow. Instead of guessing, I did this on the plane the other day. Don't look, AJ. Don't copy my figures.
I couldn't care less what you write down.
I have some too here.
Oh, I actually did 2 years, 42. That's a little low for him. But still, that's two qualifying offers. All right, so it was a good game. And lastly, Michael Conforto had a player option for this year coming up, 2024, which I think if you thought he was going to bounce back to what he used to be coming off the shoulder surgery, you were like, oh, there's no way. He's going to have a good year and he's going to opt out. And actually, in the beginning of the year, he was off to a really nice start. He ends up as a league average bat with below average defense and opts back in to take the 1 year, $18 million, which on that front, I think good for him. And that was a smart decision.
And Giants fans are pissed.
Giants fans are pissed. But also,
sign him to it.
Why are they worried? Right. Why are they worried about the payroll? Like if the San Francisco Giants are going to go after, say, Shohei Ohtani, they're going to have to outspend everyone else, right, including their buddies in the same state. And I don't think Michael Conforto and 18 mil is going to get in the way of if the Dodgers offer 500 and they go, we're offering 550 or 575. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Will it make any difference in the world? Mm-mm. No. So why are they concerned?
When the Giants have so much money.
To me, he's a solid piece to have on your team. You signed him to that contract. You tried to buy on the upside. He's still not old. Like, I don't think people put enough onus on the fact that, like, he missed an entire season plus what he missed in 2021 when he was out. Not playing an entire year, like, you are going to get run down. You are not – that is tough. That has to be tough to do. I mean, I missed time just from being like a free agent, 15 days getting released and then trying to find a team. You get out of the rhythm. So missing a whole year, that's tough. I think he's not going to maybe play to 18 million, but I think it's an awesome case of somebody that's going to, I think he could be a good piece. They need a superstar. Conforto's not it, but they need a superstar and it'll make Conforto better.
Yeah. They're going to go hard this offseason, I think, and they have to. All right, let's slap. All right, so people that have been with us for the past hour and a half, obviously there were some issues. So just wanted to say, as we always do, real talk here. Appreciate you. Obviously, everyone has their off day. And I need to put my internet bill back on auto pay. It's my bad. My bad. Kratz hats, what do you got?
This is for AJ. Remember when the White Sox wore these?
White Barons?
No, they never did.
Wilkes-Barre?
They never. It's Scranton Wilkes-Barre.
No.
It's like one of the 6 throwback unis that they made up out of nowhere. I mean, throwback unis would be in a Scranton Wilkes-Barre Phillies uniform, but they don't have those.
I skipped that league.
What? You didn't skip AAA?
I skipped the International League or whatever the hell it's called.
It's the same thing.
I was in the Pacific Coast League.
Why is it in the Pacific Coast League? There's no teams,
better cities.
No teams across the Pacific Coast, and it's the International League. There's no teams internationally. We got to change the names.
Last time I checked, Vancouver was on the Pacific Coast. Fresno.
Across the Pacific Coast.
I haven't been in school in so long, but I love you, FT Sam. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Way better. Way better.
Way better.
Way